So here's the second part of the enhanced portrait technique. What we're going to do now is, we were happy with our whites, so I'm going to collapse these layers by pressing Control-Shift-E. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to sharpen the iris. So I'm zooming in by pressing Control+. I'm going to create actually a couple of new layers, Control-J, Control-J. And what I want to do is click on the eye of the top layer. And then I'm going to be selecting my middle layer. The next step would be to go to your filter. And we're going to choose the other, and then we're going to go to high pass. And from here we're going to apply this filter. And I'm actually applying it at 27 pixels. So I'm going to click on OK. Now the important part of sharpening this is to switch your light type from normal to soft light. And you can do that on the layers palette. So now this whole picture has been sharpened, but I just want to sharpen my eyes. So I'm going to go back to my top layer by selecting it. I'm going to click on the eye, and now what I'm going to do is use my eraser tool, which is to the left. Now when using your eraser tool, right now I have a brush with a soft edge. I'm at 35 pixels, and I'm going to bring down the opacity. Actually, I'm going to use it at 100%. And now what you get to do by zooming in on the eyes is you're going to be sharpening them by erasing that top layer so that the middle layer shows. And I'm quite happy with that result for the first eye. I'm now going to go to the second eye and just brush over once. Just make sure you're just sharpening or erasing the iris and not the eyelashes or the whites. So let's zoom back out, Control-, and now what do we notice? We have here a sharpened eye, and we can see the before and after by simply clicking on the eye of the middle layer. And we do notice that these eyes pop a little bit more with the sharpening. Now I'm happy with that, so I'm going to collapse my layers by pressing Control-Shift-E. The next step is to sharpen, actually let's start with the softening. So I'm going to soften maybe my cheeks, maybe my forehead just a little bit. So Control-J, Control-J. Now I'm going to remove the eye from my top layer, select my middle layer, and I will go to Filter, Gaussian Blur, it's under Blur, Gaussian Blur, and I'm actually going to bring up the radius in the Gaussian Blur plugin to 8.8, and that's quite a bit. So I'm going to click on OK, and now this blurs quite a bit my whole picture. Not to worry, we're going to go back to our top layer, make it visible by clicking on the eye. And from here, we're going to use our eraser tool, but not at 100% opacity. We're going to bring that down to 20. And now what we're going to do is bring up the size of the brush to something more like, well, let's try 200. So that brush size is a bit small. I'm going to actually try 300. And here we have it. So now what we're going to do is brush over the areas we want to soften. In this case, it's my forehead, just a little bit, maybe my cheeks, my nose, and that's about it. If you want to see what you've actually erased, you can click on the eyes of the two bottom layers and you can actually see what's going to be showing through. So I'm happy with these results. So again, I'm going to collapse this by pressing Control-Shift-E. From here, I'm going to do the same process, but I'm going to sharpen. So Control-J, Control-J. I'm going to click on the eye on the top layer, select my middle layer, and this time I'm going to sharpen. So I go back to Filter. I'm not going to blur here, so I'm going to go to Other and then High Pass. And I don't want it to be as sharp as my eyes, so I'm actually going to bring this down just a little bit to something more like maybe 15, and I'm going to click on OK. Now again, you have to change the light from normal to soft light, and you're going to go back to your top layer, click on the eye. Now, we're going to use our eraser tool, and we're going to start painting or brushing, erasing back our detail here. And so I'm going to go over my hair, and I'm also going to sharpen my mouth just a little bit, and my eyebrows. I'm happy with the results, and again, if you want to see what's going to be showing through, you can remove your eyes on the two bottom layers, and you can actually see what's being brought back from the lower sharpened level. I'm happy with this, so I'm going to collapse my layers, Control-Shift-E, and now I've softened certain areas, I've sharpened certain areas. The last thing I'm going to do is create a slight vignette to make my head pop a little bit more. So Control-J, Control-J. I'm going to select my middle layer, and I'm going to switch the light type to Multiply. Now if you go to your top layer here, we're going to select, using the lasso tool, my head, but we're going to feather that at 250. And again, this is just a general outline of my head here. The next step would be to right-click on this and do a layer via copy. And you just want to make sure that the layer right underneath it has a multiply on it. And this will show you the vignette right now. So let's see the before and after. So before and after. Now I'm happy with this, so I'm going to be pressing Control-Shift-E. And I'm happy with this, so let's save it. And again, if you save it as a PSD, you won't lose quality. But ultimately, if you're preparing it for the web, you're going to want to crop this to a height of 800. So that's the technique. I hope this helps you get through it. Thank you.